Hey everybody, it's Heather Coley here with Real Estate, Life, and Lessons Learned. And here we are on Good Friday, April 2020, and boy have we not been learning a lot of life lessons this past month. I'd say that we've all are counting our blessings a lot more, and I'm just so thankful for our family and for our healthcare workers and just all those people that are so essential to us, and I am just so thankful for them. And like I said, it's Good Friday, and I'm thankful for Jesus and for what he did for me on this day. And I just pray that all of you guys are doing well out there. And I've been really struggling with kind of what I wanted to talk about in a video. I did not want, to come out with some bubbly, real estate video in the midst of all of the, in the midst of everything that's going on, because I didn't want anybody to think that I was taking something not serious, I guess, as far as what our healthcare workers have been facing. But I do know that real estate is a very big part of our world and our economy, and people are interested in it, and you have to have a place to live. So, this is something that's very interesting a lot of times for people, and a lot of people are kind of curious of what is going to happen with it and, what exactly to do. So I decided to do a video today on what are the pros and cons of buying in an uncertain market. So that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about what's the good and the bad when the market is kind of uncertain. Like, what are those advantages and disadvantages to buying? And so let's get right into it. Okay, so I've had to put my glasses on because I'm going to have to read some. So, but first off, so what is a pro that is in an uncertain market? And as of right now, one of the pros is the interest rate is still really, really low. So we are seeing interest rates still in the low to mid threes. And so if you guys are seriously thinking about buying, it is still a great time because your payment can be very low. So it totally makes sense. Now, what might be a con in this market to do with lending? Well, one of the cons is a lot of the companies are getting a little bit more tighter with the guidelines. So we have seen on some companies that their FHA scores have had to go up higher. The buyer has to have a higher FHA score or credit score to get an FHA loan. Sorry about that. And so it's not across the board in every single lender, but that is something that you're going to want to talk to your lender about. So one of my best pieces of advice is, if you are a serious buyer in this market, you need a pre-approval letter. You need to know what kind of loan you're getting. And I would also know kind of a backup kind of loan. If, say, you're going with a specific loan program, and talk to the lender about if they think, or if that loan program, say, went away, like what would be a good alternative? Do you have an alternative of a different type loan so that just so and you have a backup plan. So like I said, so great interest rates still today. So you guys that are thinking about buying, think about that, for instance. Okay, number two, right now there is a lot less competition where you've got maybe the not so serious buyers looking, that they're not kind of looking right now, which of course, we've all been told that the best place to be right now is to be at home and not out and about doing everything we just want to do. So we're only out for essential reasons. And, some people are need to find a house, and that is an essential side of things. And I've got a client that I helped get under contract probably a week ago, and their situation is that they have a lease that is going to be coming up, where their lease is up come at the end of the summer. So it makes sense that they need to maybe take this opportunity to really look at houses where there maybe isn't the high demand of competition that we were seeing, say, a month or two ago. So a buyer like that, I think it makes sense for them if they are, have a lease that's coming up, and they just know that they need to buy, then it does make sense for them to be looking, because the competition is not, there's not as many buyers out as we're out. So now what might be a con to that? Well, because in this market at the moment, there are, maybe not quite as many houses that were probably going to be hitting the market as normal in, this time of year. And because a lot of people are kind of on hold at the moment. I mean, maybe they don't want, people walking through their houses, or maybe they are waiting to kind of see how things kind of even out. So you might not have as much inventory on the market. So that might be a con. But we are still seeing houses come on the market, and there are ways that we can do it safely to where it makes sense, to where you can still be marketing the property and letting buyers see it, through multiple videos and things like that. So, all right. So that leads me into the next pro. So if you're the buyer right now, you're sitting, say, at home, and you can look at a lot more houses than if you were, say, looking a few months ago, because I would say that a lot of the agents now have went out and personally videoed their listings, so that the buyer can feel comfortable, looking through that house without ever leaving the comfort of their own home. So if you are that buyer out there, call your agent and ask your agent, to ask the listing agents if they have filmed the house and if they can send you videos. That's one of the things I've been doing, is I filmed, multiple videos and uploaded them to YouTube, and then I've just been sending those out. And I'm doing those videos more of not just like virtual tour, and it just, I'm kind of skimming through the house. I'm actually doing the video in the eyes of a buyer, scanning the ceilings, scanning the floors, like showing everything in the house like a buyer would, so that they really truly feel like they're looking at the house and not just pictures, so, because we all know kind of how pictures can look different than, really being out there. So like I said, so one of the pros is that you could actually be getting to tour a whole lot more houses than you might be if you're out in the car driving around. And hey, you're saving gas too. So another thing, so say the con to that is, there might not, like I was talking about, there might not be, you might not get to say you really want to see this one particular house, and say that seller at the moment has kind of got things on hold because they're not necessarily wanting people coming through. And there's different reasons for that. There might be someone at that house that has a newborn, or has, someone older, or, that they're worried about, having some more exposure. I mean, different things, but there could be, a situation like that to where you maybe aren't able to go to that house that you want to see just quite yet. But most of the agents have figured out a way to make this work for you guys. All right. So one of the last things I want to talk about is, so a pro to an uncertain market, buying in an uncertain market is, and I had a conversation the other day with my client about this, because we were really, weighing the pros and cons. And one of the things I mentioned to her was, You know, when you buy a home versus renting, you are really in more control of, knowing what your payment will be. So I want you to kind of think about that. And, a lot of times with the interest rate being so low, your payment on buying a home will be a lot of times a whole lot cheaper than a rent payment. But one of the things that I've seen in the past is when we do start having a little bit of different things going on in the market, and say there are more people out here that are needing to rent, then the landlords, because of supply and demand, a lot of times they start upping the prices of their rents. So, and a lot of times it gets hard too for that person to be able to find the house that's in the right school district that they want to rent. So think about that. And I think for each person right now, you're having to make a decision that makes sense for you. So if you are confident in your job and you are not, say have worries with it, and you are feeling really good about that, and then go for it. Go on forward, looking to buy, because like I said, especially if you're in a situation where you might be thinking, I'm going to sell and then I'll just rent, or you're in a situation where, say, you're renting right now and you then are trying to decide, am I going to continue to rent or should I buy? To be honest, I've had family members that have been renting and showed up at home that day and found almost like an eviction notice on their door where their landlord was not paying the rent. So, or not paying their mortgage, sorry about that. And then you had no choice but to move. So, like I said, I feel like you are a lot more in control when you know what your payment's going to be every month. And, so the con to that, to, buying a house in an uncertain market might be, well, I'm worried that I'm going to lose a little, I might lose some equity. Well, that's of course what all of our fear is. But I can say, after living through the whole 2008, 9, 10, fall of the market, those values come back. And, and a lot of times, I just feel like I said before, you will be in more control of knowing what, number one, where you're going to live and what school district your kids are in, and what your neighbors are, will be, and all that good stuff. If you own that home versus if you are counting on a landlord, because you never know if that landlord is going to decide that maybe they want to sell that house now, or that they're going to up the rent, when your lease comes up again. So just think about those kind of things. And one thing that I want to mention is, if you are a buyer right now, and I would be, really the reason to be out looking for houses in this market that we're in right now is if you are serious. And if you are serious, then the agents are going to, treat you that you are serious. But you've got to have done some of your homework, or that they're not going to take you serious. And I say that now 5 times. But I guess what I mean by that is, a lot of sellers are saying, I don't want just anybody coming through my house. I only want people that are ready to buy and are qualified to buy. Like, I don't want the looky-loos coming through right now. So if you're a buyer, then you want to have that pre-approval. You want to know what kind of loan you're getting. You've got to have that, or nobody is, like I said, they might not even let you come look. And the agent probably is going to ask you right off the bat, like, do you have a pre-approval? So that they know if they leave their home and are going out into this craziness, that it makes sense and that you have done your part. So like I said, so make sure that you are ready and you're not just out here, you know, just wanting to look, because now's really not the time for that. I'd say right now is the time for the serious buyers to be out there, and that's what's fair, you know, to the seller and to the agents, of course, you know, for you to be serious. So anyways, I hope that this helped you guys a little bit, and I'll be doing another video coming up here in the next within the next week. So I hope all you guys do have a happy Easter that watch this in the next few days, and God bless you guys.